Nobody walks into a biker bar at 17 years old and survives the silence. Nobody, except her. It was a cold Tuesday night in November. The kind of night where the wind cuts through you and the only warm place for miles is a dive bar with neon lights and the smell of motor oil baked into the walls. A girl named Maya walked through that door alone. She was 17, small, quiet, wearing a beat-up leather jacket that looked like it had been through a war. Because it had. The moment she stepped inside, the laughter started. These weren't just any guys. This was the Iron Wolves, motorcycle club that had been riding together for over 20 years. Hardened men, veterans of the road, the kind of people who don't move for anyone and don't apologize to anybody. And when a teenage girl in a raggedy old jacket walked into their bar on their night, they thought it was the funniest thing they'd seen in a long time. What happened next shut every single one of them up. And by the end of this story, you're going to understand why that jacket wasn't worn out. It was earned. Maya grew up without her father. He left when she was 3, or at least that's what her mother always told her. No calls, no birthday cards, no explanation. Just silence where a dad was supposed to be. She spent her whole childhood filling that hole with questions that never got answered. Why didn't he want her? Was she not enough? Did he even think about her? Kids who grow up without answers like that, they carry it differently. Some get angry, some shut down. Maya just got quiet. She was the kind of girl who sat in the back of class, didn't cause problems, got decent grades, and went home to a small apartment where her mom worked double shifts, just to keep the lights on. Life wasn't dramatic. It was just hard and gray and ordinary. Then, 2 weeks before that November night, everything changed. A lawyer called. Her father, a man named Daniel Reeves, had died. Motorcycle accident. And in his will, the only thing he left Maya was a leather jacket. No money, no note, no explanation. Just a jacket, shipped to her door in a brown box with her name, written in someone else's handwriting. Her mother told her to throw it away. Her best friend told her to sell it. Maya put it on. It was way too big. It smelled like cigarettes and engine grease. It had patches sewn all over the back and a long crack running down the left sleeve. It looked terrible. She wore it to school the next day and 2 kids laughed at her in the hallway. She didn't take it off. She didn't know why she felt connected to it. She just did. It was the only thing he ever gave her. And even if she didn't know him, even if he never tried, she wanted to understand who he was. And something in her gut told her the people who knew him were the Iron Wolves. She found their bar. Through an old photo she discovered tucked inside the jacket's inner pocket. A group of bikers laughing, standing outside a place called Rowdy's. She searched the name online, found an address 40 minutes from her house, showed up on a Tuesday because she heard bikers gathered on Tuesdays. She didn't call ahead. She didn't tell her mom. She just drove her beat-up second-hand car to a bar she had no business being at and walked in. The room had about 15 men in it, big guys, leather vests covered in patches, beards, tattoos. Most of them were mid-conversation when the door opened. Then they saw her, this small teenage girl in an oversized cracked jacket, and one by one they stopped talking. Then one of them started laughing. "You lost, kid?" he said. His name was Hank. He was the biggest man in the room, bald with a gray beard, and his laugh was the kind that fills up a whole building. More laughter followed. Someone asked if she was there for a Halloween costume contest. Someone else asked if she needed directions to the mall. Maya stood at the door and didn't flinch. She waited for it to die down. And then she said in the clearest voice she could manage, "I'm looking for anyone who knew Daniel Reeves. He was my father." The laughter stopped, not slowly, all at once, like someone had cut the power. Hank stood up from his seat. His face had changed completely. He walked toward her, and she held her ground even though every part of her wanted to step back, and then he stopped right in front of her. He wasn't looking at her face anymore. He was looking at the jacket. He reached out slowly and touched one of the patches on the sleeve, a small embroidered eagle with the number 7 underneath it. "Where did you get this?" he asked. His voice was different now, quiet. "He left it to me," she said. "In his will." Hank turned around to face the room. Nobody said a word, and then one of the older men in the corner, gray-haired, with hands like leather, stood up and walked over. He looked at the jacket for a long time. Then he looked at Maya's face. "You've got his eyes," the old man said. His name was Roy. He had ridden with Daniel for 18 years. What Maya didn't know, what nobody had ever told her, was who her father actually was. Daniel Reeves wasn't just a biker. He had served 2 tours in the military before he ever touched a motorcycle. He came back changed, the way a lot of soldiers do, carrying things inside him that he didn't know how to put down. He struggled. He made mistakes. He left because he genuinely believed, wrongly, painfully, completely, that Maya and her mother would be better off without him around. Roy said he talked about her constantly, never missed her birthday in his own mind. even if he never called. He had a photo of her in his wallet that was so worn from being taken out and looked at that the edges had gone soft. The patches on that jacket told his whole story. The eagle with the number 7, that was his military unit. The small red cross on the shoulder, he had volunteered with a veterans crisis line for 6 years. The iron wolf's head on the back, that was the highest patch the club gave out. Only 4 men had ever received it. It meant you had saved a brother's life. Daniel had pulled Roy out of a burning truck. After a highway accident in 2019, Roy had burns on his left arm that he rolled his sleeve up to show her, right there in the bar without her asking. "He never told you any of this?" Roy asked. "He never told me anything," Maya said. "He was never there." Roy nodded slowly. "He was the most stubborn man I ever knew," he said. Thought love meant staying away, spent his whole life protecting people who never knew he was doing it. Maya stood there in the middle of that bar, wearing her father's jacket, surrounded by men who had known him better than she ever got the chance to, and she cried. Not the quiet kind, the ugly, real kind, where your whole body shakes and you can't stop it even if you try. And 15 tough bikers who laughed at her 12 minutes ago didn't say a single word. They just let her. Hank, the one who laughed the loudest when she walked in, sat down beside her and put a hand on her shoulder. He didn't say anything clever or comforting. He just said he would have been proud of you for coming here. Maya still has the jacket. She wears it every day. She's been back to Rowdy's 4 times since that night. Roy has been showing her old photos, old stories, filling in the gaps that 17 years of silence left behind. It's not the same as having a father. Nothing fixes that. But she said in an interview last year that the jacket doesn't feel like a hand-me-down anymore. It feels like a conversation that started too late, but didn't stop. There's something in this story that doesn't let go of you. Because most of us have something, a person, a relationship, a silence we never understood. And sometimes the thing they left behind is the only way to hear what they were never able to say out loud. That jacket was worn out, cracked, too big, covered in patches nobody explained. It was also the loudest thing in that room. If this story hit you somewhere real, the next video on your screen is going to do the same thing. Go watch it right now.